Hey, you guys, I have my friend Mike McCormick back on the Angela Bach Show today. He is the author of the fantastic Substack, which I subscribe to, called Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. And we're going to talk all things Russiagate today. So stick around for that today on the Angela Bach Show.
Hello, my name is Angela Bach.
Hey, you guys, as promised, here's my old friend Mike McCormick. One day, Mike, I want to meet you in person because we have had so much fun breaking down so many things. And you guys, if you're unaware who Mike is, Mike worked for the government for many, many years. And he basically broke a story a few months back that basically detailed the fact that our government knew where Osama bin Laden was many, many years before we allegedly knew where he was. And he has a great Substack called Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. And he's a font of knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome back to the show. We're going to talk about all kinds of things today.
Hey, Angela, it's great to be back.
Yes, so good to have you. So the last time we talked, there's been so much. Yeah. Obviously, what's breaking right now, and it's funny because I have not been called to go on TV about this. I wonder why. But obviously, the Russiagate hoax is breaking wide open.
Right.
Hillary Clinton's email servers breaking wide open again. And near and dear to your heart, of course, is Hunter Biden. So where do you want to start today? Because I'm just going to take your lead.
Let's start with the Russiagate outbreak, especially what Tulsi Gabbard put out, the NI Tulsi Gabbard put out last week, and we'll go from there, and then we'll go into Hunter, Hunter's weird, wicked meltdown.
His meltdown is so Tulsi. So last week, Tulsi dropped some real bombs that the media is funny. I don't know. Are they covering it at all on CNN or MSNBC, or are they just like crickets time?
All the coverage I've seen has been Fox and, conservative media, internet, conservative media podcasters and stuff. I mean, it's been on the radio. I get a lot of my news off the radio here. Vince Colonnese was talking about it, and the other people, WMAL people. So I listened to that. But, the thing is, so I was in kind of the middle of some of the stuff that happened with the Crossfire Hurricane without even realizing it. Okay. I'll be doing a Substack later this week, but I saw on the Gateway Pundit a really interesting interview that Kash Patel had done. And I'm not sure when he did it, but he talked about the fact that in London, the head of the CIA bureau in London was Gina Haspel, who eventually wound up to be the CIA chief, head of the CIA under Trump. She took over when Mike Pompeo left, and she was there during the COVID stuff. She was and the stolen election, and she was basically forced out at the end. She was forced to resign. Well, she was the bureau chief in London in 2016. Obama went to London in 2016 in April. I was there with Obama in April in 2016. He was over there. He did a trip. He went to England, London. Then he went across the pond to Germany, met with Merkel in Hesse, Hesse, was like a giant sort of industrial fair there.
Now, before you continue, why were you with Obama? Explain, what were you doing with the government?
I was the stenographer then. So I was in the White House stenographer's office. I had been able to go on the Obama trip. This is unusual for me, but they said, hey, we got a slot. Why don't you go? I said, okay. So he went to London, he went to Germany, and he went to Saudi Arabia. Well, after he leaves London, this is when Gina Haspel, he's there in London. This is April. In May is when they sort of put out a dragnet and caught this guy, Papadopoulos, George Papadopoulos. He was there working for Trump. He was kind of a lower level foreign policy guy, and they got him in an interview with a Australian guy, an Australian.
Stephen Halper, correct?
No, it was another guy. It wasn't Halper. It was another guy. George, was it George? No, it wasn't Stephen Halper. It was another guy that Papadopoulos got with.
Was this a way to set him up? Was this the beginning of the setup?
They met in a wine bar. He met with this guy and another woman. They were both Aussies. They were just there to have a chit chat. Mm-hmm. And this guy came back with some intel, and he sent it back through his channels to Australian intel and said, hey, this guy says that Trump has stuff on Hillary Clinton from the Russians. So that was a big red flag. Well, how did this Australian guy, was he put up to that by Gina Haspel after Obama left? Because what happened was, then I'm on a trip in July of 2016 with Joe Biden, and we go to Australia, and he has a meeting with Julie Bishop, who's the head of the Australian. She's like their Secretary of State. He meets with her, and he starts talking about, we're going to do a lot of intelligence gathering and work together with our Five Eyes alliance. Well, Five Eyes was England, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, and America.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And it was the first time that I'd heard him in a speech talk about Five Eyes. I was like, Five Eyes? Why is he talking about Five Eyes? I knew what Five Eyes was, but there was Joe Biden talking about it. Soon after he has his meeting with Julie Bishop, the Australian guy that had met with Papadopoulos, that information goes to the U.S. State Department in London, and then it gets turned over to the FBI. And they use that to start this operation of, we think there's Russian collusion in the Trump organization.
Now, before you continue, I remember the whole Papadopoulos thing I remember this, but what did Papadopoulos exactly say that they used? Was it just like this, oh, this is what they're saying, it's crazy? Like, what do you remember what he said exactly?
He says he didn't say anything.
Interesting.
He said they had drinks together at a wine bar, and he didn't say anything about Russia collusion or anything like that. He said, I never said anything like that. And indications are, like, internet, I think it was Grok or Wikipedia, I was looking at something, basically said he didn't say it with, the Australian guy sort of pinned it on him, and he said, I didn't do it. And he got sort of tagged with lying to the FBI or something. He had to be pardoned eventually. He goes run through the ringer over this, and he said it was all a setup and
bankrupted.
So the setup comes from first Obama, that through Haspel to the Australians in London. Joe Biden goes down and lights the fuse with the Australians in Australia, and then he goes to New Zealand and the other Five Eyes people, and then this thing comes out, and they start this investigation. This is July of 2016. In August of 2016 is when Brennan goes in and talks to the White House and says, "Hey, there's some stuff." So what DNI Gabbard did was, her big thing, she really nailed this. She comes out on Friday and she says, look, by December of 2016, Trump has won the election. They are in the transition period. And there's a meeting in the White House where the intelligence presidential's daily brief is going to get briefed on, was there actual Russian collusion? And the briefing is going to tell him from the intelligence agencies, no, there wasn't. Yeah. There really wasn't. This Papadopoulos
even after they set all this stuff up, but the PD was like, there was nothing.
All these wiretaps, there was nothing. Mm-hmm. So the intelligence guys said, wait a minute, we don't want that. Pull that down. And they had a meeting in the Situation Room. And this is what Tulsi Gabbard said. there's a email that comes out. According to the president, we need to re-examine this and make it look like, there's Russian collusion. And that's what she's related through documents. And there's going to be whistleblowers.
Yes.
So it puts Obama as the guy that made the decision. There was a group that was behind it. Obama was behind it. Biden obviously was behind it. And the Five Eyes people were behind it. This whole thing, it was global. And my question is, so on this trip, Obama goes over and he goes to London. He meets with, did he meet with Gina Haspel, or one of his people meet with her? She gets the message from a presidential visit. Then he goes across and meets with high-level German people. Did he tell them? Did he tell the people in Saudi Arabia? That was the other stop in the trip. I mean, is this Obama and Biden going around the world telling our allies, we got to be careful about Trump because we think he's tied in with Russia in a bad way? And they're lying about him the whole time.
They're lying about him the whole time. And the reason they farmed it out to the Five Eyes was because they could not do what they needed to do with the intelligence community in our country. That's why they had to farm it out to Australia and et cetera. Correct?
Right. Because there would have been there would have been a paper trail. There would have been reporting. There would have been, we don't see that. We're not seeing this from this, this isn't a high level guy, and he's not, this doesn't really meet our standard of intelligence that we would say is with high confidence. This is definitely happening. And that's what they then went in to say in December of 2016, that Obama said, okay, wait a minute, we're going to change the whole story right now. And we're going to make Trump colluding with the Russians in a way that we have to, use against them.
And we know now, Paul Sperry was posting about this, that there evidently are emails between Team Clinton and the Obama White House. So obviously Hillary Clinton's fingerprints are all over this. And I've talked about this on my show before. I don't know if you ever read the book Shattered, which is basically the postmortem of the Clinton run. Literally on page 25, Robbie Mook, who was her campaign manager. And I remember reading this going, oh my God, they just put it in writing. This was a thing that they were going to say to explain why she lost. They talked about, we're going to say it was Russia. What?
Right.
It was
it was funny because along. It was funny because I remember I was in the White House as a stenographer working in the press office when Trump came out and made a joke about where are Hillary's emails. If Russia knows where Hillary's emails are and they want to send them to me, that'd be fantastic.
Right.
And I remember Josh Earnest was the White House press secretary. His eyes went like, what? I mean, it was like they were stunned that he would say that. So there was something that from the Trump side, he was sort of joking about it. Paul Manafort was at the time, up until August, he was his campaign manager. He had a big tie into Ukraine, and he was sort of working with the Russian-backed Ukrainian guy. So there was some leanings in the background of the Trump campaign that were Russian, discussed. He was open about, Russia, and so that opened the door for these weirdos to, these political operatives are bloodthirsty. And as soon as you give them the slightest opening, they will turn it into, they'll ruin lives. They ruined George Papadopoulos. They ruined a guy named Michael Caputo, General Flynn.
Yep.
So I just got General Flynn's book. I'm going to read that. I think that has a lot to do with what
it's going to be, listen, there's only so much time that I think the media has to get in front of this, because they were also the ones who, with a wink and a nod, knew this was total bullshit. Okay. They knew it was all bullshit, and they ran with it, and they did the dirty work of these evil people. And I cannot wait until the hearings start. And there's a lot of people that are like, there are two camps now. They're saying, okay, this Truth Social post that Trump put out the other day with the nobody's above the law and with the meme of Obama getting arrested at the end.
Right.
I tend to think that this is very serious. And once I think the low level people and the low levels of and I mean, they're not really low levels, but the Lisa Monaco's, the Valerie Jarrett's, the Susan Rice's, like there's going to be a point where they're going to be like, we should probably tell what we know. Otherwise our heads are going to get chopped off, and Obama and Comey and Clapper and Brennan are going to go on their merry ways. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they're definitely going to be whistleblowers. I don't think it's going to be Lisa Monaco.
She's too high up.
You know, I don't, the person, and I think Tulsi Gabbard hinted, or somebody, might have been DOJ people, hinted that they had a really high level White House source from this who was cooperating. And I don't know.
Because they don't want to go to they don't want to go to Gitmo for treason.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, and so that kind of leads us into what Hunter Biden did, right?
Yeah.
So Hunter Biden
set this up because it's crazy.
Yeah. So Hunter Biden comes out and basically attacks the other side of the Democratic Party that wasn't on his father's side. The Axelrods, the Pluffs. He didn't really use Obama's name, but that's who he was talking about.
Right.
He talked about George Clooney. He talked about Rahm Emanuel. He talked about Nancy Pelosi. He talked about all these people that came after his dad. And he talked about his dad and was like, oh, my dad was, won the most votes and he had the best midterm result and all this BS.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that.
He knows damn good and well they stole that thing. He knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so, that was Hunter. This is Hunter sort of revealing the shattered state of the Democratic Party. I mean, it's cracking up in front of our eyes. And the leaders, so if you're Lisa Monaco or you're Susan Rice, and all of a sudden there's this pressure coming towards you, and this guy Hunter Biden comes out, you got to be wondering who's going to start talking.
Right.
And then it becomes whoever talks first gets the best deal. Right. And that's pretty much where we're going. And I'm not sure, Hunter was out there. I wrote a Substack today. Hunter was out there basically talking as his dad. I mean, it was as if Joe was saying this through Hunter, because Joe can't say it like that anymore, but Hunter can. And he definitely had Jill's permission. He had Joe's permission. He went to him, and he probably went to him and said, hey, I'm going to go out there and pound on these guys. Yeah, go do it. Right. So he goes out there, and he's just an F-bomb laced, ugly, whining thing where he's griping about the Democrats that didn't back his dad. He's talking about, and he's talking about, he talked about the laptop, and he talked about Marco Polo. He didn't use Marco Polo's name. It was interesting. He attacked the Democrats by name, but he didn't attack Garrett Ziegler or Marco Polo by name.
Speaking of Marco Polo.
There you go. Yes.
Right here.
Right. Perfect.
I'm still dying to talk to them one of these days, I hope. Okay. But I think, they're going to be front and center on this. I mean, y'all get this thing. It's the whole laptop.
Yeah. That's right. And that's what he was griping about. He goes, first of all, he goes, they started talking about a laptop, and they go, he goes, the laptop's not real. And the guy's like, huh? And everybody's like, huh?
Right.
Because a year ago, in June of 2024, Hunter was convicted of a gun charge because of the evidence that was in the laptop and testimony from his ex-sister-in-law, ex-lover, Hallie Biden was there.
Whore.
Yeah, that he did terrible things to. That's in the laptop. He's trying to pretend like, hey, they shouldn't use that against me. And he went after those guys. But at one point, he said something really interesting to me. He goes, it's not real. They talk about Hunter Biden crack. They talk about Hunter Biden, and you're thinking about all these things. And you're thinking about Hunter Biden in China, Hunter Biden, Ukraine, Hunter Biden, China, Hunter Biden, Ukraine. And then he says, bird flu. He goes, China, Ukraine, bird flu.
That's
and I'm like, why would he say bird flu? because that's what I've got in that book, is basically Hunter Biden went to China with his dad in 2013, and they started this investment in Metabiota that was investigating where the bird flus were in China. And they went all the way through to set up the Wuhan pandemic. Mm-hmm. They were part of how they set up. And that's what he said in this interview. He said bird flu. So
yeah, that's interesting. And when I think this is such a spider web of all these things, whether we're talking about the Russia Collusion Hoax or Crossfire Hurricane, which are separate things. And then the China virus and the stolen election of 2020. And then of course, Trump's assassination attempts. And then, CNN somehow deciding that today's the day we're going to film a Trump rally, although we never have before. Like, there's going to be some people that are going to want to get ahead of this. And I mean, this is not just basic criminality. This is treason. Yes. This is a coup.
Right.
And it's all the same people. And that's the thing. Like, even though it's multi-layered, it's the same core group of people. So if you had to spitball, who are the 10 people that you would say are the head of this snake? Because I've got my ideas.
I'd say there's at least 50, but
50. Okay.
Out of the Obama. So let's talk specifically about the Russia collusion.
Okay.
We'll talk 10 names there.
Okay.
Obama, Biden, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Rice, Avril Haines,
Strzok Page,
Lisa Monaco. I'm just talking about the White House people.
Just White
Valerie
House.
Jarrett and Dennis McDonough. So that's 10 White House only. That doesn't even go into what the FBI did, the CIA did, the other deep state people did, State
Hillary
Department
Clinton's
did.
people.
Yeah. I mean, who was the Secretary of State? I think it was Kerry then.
It was Kerry.
Yeah. So, he would have been
potato face, as Mark Levin calls him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there's 10 right there. And then, what happens out of the Wuhan pandemic and the stolen election, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Devin Archer is a name. Devin Archer got a pardon from Trump, but he's a name who was in the thick of it. Ron Klain, Ted Kaufman, Mike Donnellan, Tom Donnellan, Steve Ricchetti, there's a couple more. Jake Sullivan, definitely.
What about Victoria Nuland?
Yeah, she's part of it.
She's in there.
She's in the Ukraine biolab, and she was Victoria Nuland popped up into she was in the Russiagate thing too. She was connected. I was looking at that and I was like, wait a minute, how is she in there? So yeah, she had her hands in some dirty pots. So yeah, Victoria Nuland, the Ukrainian embassy, who's in the Ukrainian embassy at the time. Ambassador was Pyatt, but also working over there and with his hands in a lot of this stuff, Alexander Vindman.
Right. The great patriot, Alexander Vindman, who concocted the call between Trump and Zelensky and made up the quid pro quo nonsense that Adam Schiff ran with. I mean, this is, listen, I know that Democrats, they think that they still run the show and they still run the media. And, the media is going to be quiet about this for a while. But even today, I was looking at my New York Times bulletins and Newsweek bulletins, and they're starting to say, they said, Trump says that Obama is guilty of treason.
Yeah.
And when will these idiots, these high-level retards, if you will, when will they understand that Trump does not say things willy-nilly? He never has. Everything he has said has turned out to be true. And I think when you with the shift that the media is so obsessed with trying to get the Epstein stuff all of a sudden, and Trump not wanting to release it because I think he knows that there's some probably ginned up stuff in there that he knows he wasn't there, but he also knows what these people will do, anything that they can do.
Right.
So I mean, it's a it's a multi-layered thing, and there's only going to be so long that the media can't talk about it. So
yeah, and what came out today with the Epstein thing? So Todd Blanche, senior DOJ guy, is going to go talk to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes.
And guess what? He's got what she needs. He's got control over her imprisonment.
Right.
He's got the leverage she wants to hear from. Her lawyers want to hear from. And so they're going to make a deal.
And I feel like there was some story about Ghislaine, one of her former cellmates or someone that was in the jail there said, hey, she's not suicidal. Like, these people, Hunter Biden too, need to be putting out things and saying, I'm not suicidal, just like Virginia Giuffre did. And I don't know. Alan Dershowitz is all on board. Like, this whole thing, it's wild. It's what a time to be alive, Mike McCormick. Okay, we could talk forever about this because you will be back. We will talk to you on the radio show. Like, yeah, it's so juicy. It's so, you know what's great is like being on the right side of history, like being on the good guy side, understanding that this has been going on for years and we've been ahead of it. Right. Exactly. It's are pretty cool. Yeah. How can people follow you? Because you've got a great Substack. Following my Substack, Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. Yes. You can follow me on X at Joe Unauthorized. My books are on Amazon. Midnight, The Case to Impeach and Imprison Joe Biden. I think that's going to get some play now. Yeah. As some of these legal proceedings are held, and then An Almost Insurmountable Evil: How Obama's Deep State Defiled the Catholic Church and Executed the Wuhan Pandemic. Whoo, I'm gonna have to read that one of these days as a lapsed Catholic. Real quick, what do you think of Pope Leo so far? How do you, as a Catholic, how do you feel? What's your take? I personally am very happy that we have an American Pope for the first time ever. We have a guy who likes baseball. We have a guy who grew up pretty much the way I grew up. He probably watched the Brady Bunch like I did. He might have even had a crush on, Marsha like I did. He's just a regular guy. And then he becomes the Pope. Sure, Jan. And then he becomes a Pope. So I have hope for that. I think there is a darkness in the Vatican that has to be undone. And there's a lot of questions if he's the man to undo it. And I think he needs our prayers and our patience. And I think we're going to start to see some positive results. And it's Jesus' church after all. It's not our church. Jesus is leading the church. That's right. The perverts are not the church. The people are the church, and Jesus is the head of the church. And it's interesting. Trump said he has no plans to meet with them yet, but I imagine when he does, things might start to move. That's just my take. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Trump is playing he's been very vocal about his belief in God and his belief that God is on his side and God is working through him to help the future of America, which I agree with. And I'm very happy to hear a president speak like that. Yeah. So, I think there is a future for the two of them to meet, but there's still a lot of politics around the Catholic Church and the Vatican. And like you said, the things that the church has been involved in that are really dark-sided, and it's a shame. Right. All right, Mike McCormick, we'll talk to you on the radio show. Thank you for spending this time. All right, Angela. This is so fun. I love having you. All right, guys, you've been listening to Angela Box Show. We will see you next time. Until next time, everybody, keep kicking ass and taking names. Peace. Hang on. There we go.